Welcome back to New Testament Greek class. In this video, we will learn how I'd like you to work through your translations each week now that we actually have some real translations to work with. Lessons 2 and 3, of course, just dealt with verbs. But now that we've got nouns in Lesson 4, we're going to get some real sentences. So we need to know how to work through a Greek sentence in a way that will be useful and repeatable and really help you learn, and also a way that I can see your progress. And so for each sentence, you're going to do 4 steps. And the first step is to find the verb, parse it, and translate it. What do I mean by that? Well, let's assume that we have this verb, lues, lies, if you want to pronounce it a little better. Now, when I say, so let's say our sentence has this verb. I want you to, so first identify the verb. That means write it down. And we're going to give an example of exactly what your sheet of paper should look like in a minute. And I would like you to do this in a notebook. You should probably do it in pencil, although I am going to have you do a lot of crossing out, not a lot of erasing. But do it in a notebook that you keep together, that's dedicated to Greek. That's how I want you to do it. Okay. So the first thing you'll do is write down the verb on a separate line and then parse it. What does parsing mean? Parsing means that you tell me everything there is to know about this verb. And the things you can know about a verb are its mood, tense, voice, person, number, dictionary form, and then I also want you to translate it. Okay, so what's the mood of lies? It's indicative. The indicative mood. That's all we've learned so far. We've learned the indicative present and the indicative imperfect. So we're not going to worry about what mood means right now. Just know it's indicative. What tense is it? Well, lies is present tense. We've learned the present tense and the imperfect tense. The voice is active. Again, all we've learned so far, active voice verbs. Person, that's second person, and number is singular. What's the dictionary form? The dictionary form is, luo. That's the word you'd have to look up in the dictionary if you wanted to find that. And translate just our word lies. Our translation is you lose. Okay. So that's the first step in any sentence. Find the verb, parse it, translate it. Now you don't need to write the word mood, voice, tense. So this is what your step would actually look like. Here, let's clean this up a bit. So your step would look like this. You do lias and then a colon and then indicative, active, present, second singular, which you could even just write 2s, second singular from luo, and then the translation is you lose. So that's what your first step should look like. Find the verb, parse it, and translate it. Okay. The next step is there a subject, a nominative noun to serve as the subject of your sentence? Oh, I should say, how did I know this about this verb? How do I know all those things about this verb? By the ending, right? I need to recognize that ace ending is second person. I know that ending from somewhere. And then I start running through my mind all my verb paradigms. What do I know? Is it imperfect? Let's see, that was ella on, ella s, ella n, ella amen, ella eta, ella on. No, it's not imperfect. Is it present? Luo, lues. Well, there it is. There it is. Or my endings, o, ace, n. Oh, sure enough, there it is. Okay. So I know it by the endings. Likewise, how will I know if I have a nominative noun? I'll know it by the endings that we just learned here in chapter 4. And let's just imagine that we did have a hey, doesn't have to make sense. Hey phone. There was in fact a nominative, hey phone, and so I'm going to add that to my translation now, and I get the voice is loosing. Like I said, it doesn't have to make sense. And then step C, is there an accusative to serve as the direct object? If so, add it to your translation. So notice this is if so, right? Likewise for the nominative. There doesn't need to be a nominative because, yeah, as a matter of fact, this is a great case when there's not going to be a nominative. I used a second person up here. Let's change that. Let's just make this. Let's make it third person. And I have an English I in there instead of a. He, she, it looses. Clean this up a bit. No, we're not going to type in Hebrew. Try again. Okay, let's just say I have lue. So that's indicative, active, present, third person singular. He, she, or it looses. So now I've got the voice is loosing. Because that was an example. If it's second person, there's probably not going to be a nominative. Because the subject of that is you. Likewise, there doesn't have to be a nominative. If there's no nominative, then the translation just remains. He, she, or it looses. And we're going to have to wait for the rest of the sentence to see if we can figure out. So if there's nothing, you just write no. And so my translation remains he, she, or it looses. Is there an accusative to serve as a direct object? If so, pop that into your translation. And then D, then we go back through the sentence in order, fitting in the words based on their form. So let's do the first two together from chapter 4. So I do want you to copy the sentence into your Greek notebook. I want you to copy it in Greek into your notebook. And then you do part A. That's find the verb. So first let's read this together and see if we can find the verb. He arche erenes age, agapen tes doxes. He arche erenes age, agapen tes doxes. Where's the verb? This is the verb. Age is the verb. So I'm going to put it, so I copy it down. Little A, nicely indented. So I want your notebook to be very neat. And now I'm going to parse this. Well, that is indicative, present, active, third singular from the verb. Switch back over to Greek. From the verb ago. And so if I translate that, that's going to give me he, she, or it leads. Okay. So that's my sentence so far. He, she, or it leads. Let's do B. Is there a nominative? Is there a nominative to serve as the subject? Where is there a nominative? Ace, that's a genitive ending. Ain, that's an accusative ending. Ace, that's a genitive ending. Hey, arche, there it is. That's a nominative ending. So yes, I have a nominative. So I write it down there. And now I add it to my translation. So the beginning leads. Now that's the skeleton of my sentence. Do I have an accusative to serve as the direct object? Well, yeah, when I went through these endings, I said I did. There's my accusative. So I copy that down. Now I add it. The beginning, and now I'm going to say I'm going to have to finesse one of my vocabulary words, right? The beginning leads love. So I go back and I look up ago and I say it can be lead or brings. And obviously that makes more sense now. The beginning brings love. So there's the skeleton of my sentence. So now, in section D, I'm going to begin to go through and add the rest of the words to my sentence. Whoops. So I'm going to copy my skeleton of my sentence so far. And in your notebook, you'll leave space between your words. Because now I'm going to go through and see if I can fit things together. So, hey, RK, I've got that already, the beginning. But now I've got erenes. How am I going to translate that? Well, if I don't remember, I got to go back and look in the back of the book. What does erene mean? It means peace. And it's genitive. How do I translate the genitive? With of. So the beginning of peace brings love. Got it. Got that already. Got that down already. Brings love. And now I've got another genitive. I might have to look up doxe to know what it means. But it means glory. So I'm going to translate with of. And it's got the word the. So that's what we'll start with. The beginning of peace brings love of the glory. Well, we don't use the in that way in English. We'd probably put the before the love. So the beginning of peace brings the love of glory. Like we said, they don't have to make sense, but that is in fact what that sentence means. Okay, let's do another example. Number 2 from chapter 4. Where's my verb? First, let's read it. Hai phonai agapes eichon exousian kai sophian. Hai phonai agapes eichon exousian kai sophian. Where's my verb? Here it is. If that didn't jump out at you as a verb right away, then what you would have done is just go through and look at the endings. Hi, I know that's not a verb. That means the. I, that's not any verb ending I've learned. Ace, that's a genitive noun ending. On, and if I look through my flashcards, oh yeah, that's an imperfect verb ending. So this is indicative mood, imperfect tense, active voice, and it is either, now this is interesting, right? It's either first singular or third plural. Because if you look back at your imperfect verb chart, right, you've got the epsilon augment plus the stem. Oh, we forgot to write what verb it was from, didn't we? It is from echo. And it's obviously got a slightly irregular imperfect. So we're going to translate this. It's either I was having, I had, or it's they were having, or they had. We don't know which it is yet. Why don't we know? We don't know what the subject is. This form can be either first person singular or third person plural. We have the same thing in English. Same thing happens in English. If you come across this word in English, you don't know if that word is lead or led, right? You don't know if you're going to be talking, if you just saw the word, you don't know if you're going to be talking about the element lead, PB, plumbum, or if you're talking about he's leading somebody along the path. Likewise, is this read or is it read? Is it present tense or is it past tense? Well, you don't know until you know more about the sentence. So likewise, we need to look for a nominative to find out what's going on. So I look for my endings. That's an accusative ending. That's a genitive ending. There is a nominative plural ending. So I do have a nominative. So I copy it down there. And now I add it to my translation. The voices were having. Or the voices had. Just make it a simple past. The voices had. So now I know up here it was in fact third plural. It was not first singular. It was in fact third plural. Okay, C, do I have an accusative to serve as the direct object? I do. I have two of them. on-ending, both accusative, singular. And so now I add it. The voices had, what did they have? What's the direct object? The voices had authority and wisdom. Exousian kai sophian. Now I can go back and add the rest of my words in order as they fit in to my sentence here. So hyphonai, got that. The voices, agapes. There's the word I don't have. Genitive, so I translate it with of. The voices of love had authority and wisdom. Okay. So those are the steps. This is what your notebook should look like. So at this point, you're going to pause this video, and you're going to, over the next day or so, and you're going to go do the rest of the sentences in chapter 4, just like this in your notebook. Then you're going to come back and correct them. Watch the rest of this video, and in the rest of this video, I'll have 3 through 7. I will have those corrected. And this will just be what we do every week now. You'll have a video, you'll learn the stuff on the video, you'll make your vocabulary flashcards, make your paradigm flashcards, you'll study them, and then you'll do the translation work after a day, kind of you're familiar with the vocabulary. There's no sense diving into the translation on the first day because you won't know any of the vocabulary, you'll just be looking up words. So after you've had a chance to kind of learn the vocabulary, then tackle the translations after a day or two, and then watch the rest of the video to get the corrections. And as you get the corrections, cross things out, because I want to see what you got wrong. So if you wrote down that this was present tense, don't erase present tense and write in imperfect. Cross out present and write imperfect over, between the lines, so I can see where you're making mistakes, because that'll be helpful as we go forward. Okay, so you can pause now. After a day or two, you come back. You've got 3 through 7 done. I will go through those verbally on the rest of this video. So pause now. Go do your work. Now you're back. It's a day later. You beat your head against the wall, and you've got everything written down for 3 through 7. Let's take a look at them. Hey Basileia, so this is top of page 22. Hey Basileia, te zoes egen, tas hemeras erenes. And remember that semicolon is a question, so this is a question. So step A, where's the verb? Egen. It's imperfect, indicative active, imperfect tense, third person singular. It's from ago, so it's going to mean he, she, or it was leading. Is there a nominative? Yes. So for part B, is there a nominative? You should have Hey Basileia written down, the kingdom. So the skeleton of my sentence, the kingdom was leading, the kingdom was bringing. Is there an accusative? There is. Tes hemeras. That's the days, plural, accusative. So the skeleton of my sentence is now, the kingdom was bringing the days. Now I'm going to try to fit everything together. Hey Basileia te zoes. The kingdom of life was bringing the days, erenes, genitive, of peace. Okay? So 3, by the time it's all said and done, you should have the correct translation is the kingdom of life was bringing the days of peace and question mark, and so then you could go back in English and change the word order. We'd say was the kingdom of life bringing the days of peace. So we'd put that back around here. Okay. 4. He doxai te zoes agapes krinusin tas hamartias ton hemeron. Where is the verb? It's krinon. It's from krino. Means in its third person plural, krinusin. Present tense, indicative active. They judge. Where's the nominative? Hi doxai. The glories judge. Is there an accusative? There is. Tas hamartios. The sins. So the skeleton of my sentence, the glories judge the sins. Now I go back and fit the rest of the words in. The glories tes zoes, of the life, of love, agapes, judge the sins, ton hemeron, of the days. So, then you go back in English and we get rid of a lot of these thes. The glories of, we would just say life. The glories, no, we wouldn't. We would say of the life of love. Judge the sins of the days. Maybe we would use all those thes. I don't know. It's kind of a weird sentence. 5. Hai phonai exousias elambaron tein sophian tes horas. Where's my verb? It's elambaron. That's imperfect, indicative active, and it with that omicron nu ending. It's either first singular or third plural. We'll have to wait to find out. Is there a nominative? There is. Hai phonai, the voices. So now we know it was plural. The voices, and elambaron is from lambano, receive. So it's the voices were receiving. What were they receiving? We need something in the accusative to be a subject. Tein sophian. The voices were receiving the wisdom. So there's the skeleton. The voices were receiving the wisdom. And now we go back to fit in the rest of the words. Hai phonai exousias. That is a genitive singular. Now that can be confusing, isn't it? Did you have that as an accusative? Did that confuse you? Excuse me. Exousias. Did that confuse you? What's that os ending? Well, it's either accusative plural or it's genitive singular, right? Because with a noun in the first declension with a iota stem, all of a sudden those singulars take alphas. So was this genitive or accusative? And you just have to kind of fiddle around to find out, wouldn't you? But it fits nicely here as a genitive. The voices of authority. So you just have to try it both ways. Okay. The voices of authority were receiving tein sophian, the wisdom, tes horas, of the hour, genitive. So I translate it with of the hour. The voices of authority were receiving the wisdom of the hour. 6. Hai kaphalai exousias esodzon tein basileian te sophias kai emelon kerusein tein horan agapes. Okay, so we've got our first sentence with 2 clauses. Right. So when I see a kai, when I see the word and, as we do here at the very end of the first line of number 6, I should be thinking, gosh, there might be more here than just one verb. All right, it's a compound sentence with 2 coordinate clauses. So I've got 2 verbs. And I've got an infinitive. I've got a different kind of verb. I've got 3 verbs. So when you come across this, try it just one clause at a time. So let's take the first clause, which goes up to the kai. Hai kephale exousias ezotzon tein basileian tes sophias. Where's the verb in that? That verb is esodzon. It's imperfect. It's got that epsilon on the front. Imperfect, indicative active, either first singular or third plural. Do I have a nominative to help me decide? Yes, I do. Hai kephalai, the heads. So I've got the heads were saving. What were they saving? Anything in the accusative to be a direct object? Yes. Tain basileia. The heads were saving the kingdom. Okay, now I'm going to go back and fit the rest of my words in. Hai kephalai exousias. There's exousias again, genitive. So I've got that. I'm going to change back to English. The heads of authority, exousias, were saving the kingdom. Te Sophias, genitive, so I translate with of wisdom. We wouldn't say of the wisdom in English, we just drop that the. Okay, now I've got my kai, my and. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the second clause. Do I have a verb? Yes, amelin, amelin. Imperfect, indicative active, either first singular or third plural, from mellow. So it's either I was about to or they were about to. And that word, you could hear it in English, they were about to. That requires an infinitive to complete the idea, doesn't it? And sure enough, we have kerusein. How do we parse kerusein? Kerusein, how do we parse that? Well, we learned that that was the present infinitive active. That's all there is to say about kerusein, because infinitives do not have person or number. They have tense, mood, and voice. Present infinitive active. Okay. And they were about to proclaim. Kerusein. To proclaim what? There's my accusative. Tain holran, to be the direct object. They were about to proclaim the hour. Agapes, genitive, so I translate with of love. And 7. Aethalan hai hemerai te Sophias, blepen, tas zoas, tes agapes. Where's my verb? It's aethalan, either first person singular or third person plural again, imperfect, indicative active, from thelo, meaning they wanted, they were wishing, or I was wishing. Do I have a nominative for my second step? Yes. Hai hemerai. So the days were wishing. Is there an accusative? Well, there is. Let's see how that works out. It's ta zoas, the life. So let's see if the lives, let's see if that works out. They were wishing the lives. Well, that could make sense in English. But what I got to remember is, if I change this to wanting to, then that helps me remember that thelo in Greek requires an infinitive, requires a complementary infinitive. And I have one, don't I? Blepen, blepen. They were wanting to see the lives. Now it all comes together. Go and fit the rest of the words in. Who's my they? Hey, hemerai, the days. The days were wanting. The days te Sophias. The days of wisdom. Were wanting to see the lives, ta zoas, tes agapes, of love. Okay. So there are the correct translations, and what I'd like you to do now that you have them corrected, I'd like you to just snap a photo on your phone or with the camera of your notebook, if it's more than one page, and I'll have a spot for those to be uploaded at the Moodle Rooms website, so I can see how you were progressing through this, and then we'll have a quiz over Chapter 4 at the end of the week.